Alright, so we're going to start this off with a little bit of story time. I was actually just left home. I was about 2 minutes from my house to go and film this exact video for you guys, and turns out my alternator didn't want to go very far and it basically just went kaput. Turns out it's a common issue, I think, that the alternator bearing just goes on the Colorado. So unluckily, I was about 2 minutes from my house, started going down a hill, the alternator went on me, which for some reason the oil pressure sensor or something went off and said that I had low oil pressure and told me to turn off the car. So I just got a tow truck home. I'm now back at home where I may as well shoot this video now because, well, I'm here and I can't do anything until tomorrow because it's late, and I'll have to try and get a new alternator tomorrow because tomorrow is Christmas Eve and, well, everyone's closing up for a few days at least. And then in New Year's I plan on going camping, so I need to get this car back on the road as soon as possible. And as well as that, today is the time that I was going to start building the bull bar, so that's eaten into a little bit of my time, and now I have to replace an alternator as well. But anyway, apart from that, let's get into the actual video. So to be honest with you guys, I have put this video off for a very, very long time just because, I don't know, I was umming and ahhing if to actually film this video and actually show it all, but I've basically just told myself, you know, I need to show you guys what's going on, things like that. I've been back and forth with Raptor. Obviously by the title of this video you know what it's about, but I've been back and forth with Raptor about the tray setup and all that sort of stuff. And we've come to a conclusion, but I need to address it with all you guys because I've been getting a ton of DMs on Instagram about it, and everyone wants to know how it's going and how it's putting up with like abuse and things like that. So let's get into showing you what this is actually like. I'm sorry I never properly showed you when I first done it. I promise next time around we will do that. I'll give you a full walk around and things. Like, this setup is, I wouldn't say it's not temporary, but it is slightly temporary. I'm hoping in maybe, you know, another 2 or 3 years or something, I will custom build my whole tray and new canopy and things like that and just make it like my dream setup. This is a bit of a practice run for me, considering that the canopy was basically free for me and it still leaks water a little bit, so it's not a top-notch canopy, as well as that it's just an all-round cheap canopy, and I'd like something a bit more, you know, better, waterproof, smooth finish, not the checker plate, things like that. And later we'll do Raptor on it as well. So I just want to start this video off by saying that I have nothing against Raptor. I absolutely love their product, I love all their gear, and I'm going to continue to be using it. You know, it's just good stuff and it works. And for my canopy and stuff, I really pushed this car through bushes. I probably shouldn't, but I scratched the heck out of the whole car and the canopy, and to be honest with you, it really holds up well to scratches and things like that. So I guess you're all wondering what the hell I'm talking about the Raptor and why I've been talking back and forth with them and things like that. And well, the honest truth is that it is starting to flake. It actually started flaking 3 months after installing it. So for instance, I can show you here, all this is flaking. I knew all this would flake because this is what I use a lot and I chuck things down on it. So this wasn't a big deal for me. I knew that was going to happen. But things like here, and something that we thought that we done really, really good on, and that was really top quality, was the fenders. And as you can see up in there, after a couple of stone chips, the whole thing is just flaked off, and basically it's taken the whole primer off as well. So originally my uncle wanted to use an acid etch primer. He wanted to use that on aluminium. That's what he uses on all his aluminium products, but they told me to use the epoxy primer, and yes, that is good, but after talking with them, you really need to clean the heck out of it and use like metho and things like that to properly wipe the surface down before you paint. Now I didn't know that and I didn't do that, and honestly I'm not a painter by trade, so my sanding may have not have been up to scratch because my uncle pretty much just took me for face value and told me that, you know, yeah, it'd be all good. So nothing on him either. He didn't really, I mean, he did check it over, but he didn't go into detail. I was sort of like, yeah, it's off, it's fine, let's just do it. So next time I will realize to sand it up a lot more, go crazy with it and use metho and things like that. But it's still good stuff. It just doesn't seem to be wanting to stick to my setup. Since doing this setup, I have started to notice basically tips and tricks via Instagram, things like that have been coming out on their Instagram account. So I'm happy that I've sort of helped them in that perspective. I talked with I think he's the New South Wales. I spoke to him about it, and he was actually going on about saying that they need to start doing more you know, tips and tricks and a bit more tutorials and showing people how to do it a bit more to help people when they're doing DIYs at home. Now they've started giving you product codes, things to buy, things to use, how to do it. They've just really gone in depth with it now, and especially the tips and tricks on Instagram. So after talking to him with that, and he was saying that they're going to start getting into that more often, I'm really happy that I was able to sort of, you know, push that along and get them to do it a bit quicker, and get them to help out people like us and you guys and stuff that want to do this themselves. But for me personally, it sucks I was a bit late to the party with that, but you know, things happen. You live and you learn, and you know, the best way to learn is by failure. And it's not the last time I'm going to be using this. I'm definitely going to be doing it again, but you know, just for now I'm pretty much just going to go ahead. And I thought about getting it sandblasted and then redoing it all and all that sort of thing, because that is a good way to do it. If you sandblast the whole setup, you can basically paint it, use your primer, and then paint it in about 3 days, and it will bond like nobody's business. It'll be spot on. But I thought about doing that, and for the $1,000 or a couple of grand that it would cost me to actually get the thing sandblasted, I just don't really think it's worth it. The tray and the canopy is not something that I'm super in love with. If this was like a perfect setup and things like that, then maybe I would do that, but I've always wanted to build my own tray and, you know, get a new canopy and do something different later down the line. So I just figured, well, I'm just going to let this thing flake, I'm going to let it scratch up, I'm just going to beat it and use it as my tester, and then you know, later down the track I'll go get a whole new setup and I'll do it all again. I'll still use Raptor, to be honest. I'm not a fan of the powder coating and things like that. It just, as soon as you got a scratch on there, you just see it. It's just super noticeable. So I like the textured finish and stuff, and I'll definitely be going back to this sort of painting style. But for now, we're going to let it fade and go all crappy and things like that. And I just wanted to sort of come on here and answer all your questions. I've been getting a ton of DMs about how it's been going, and those people that did DM me, I would tell them, you know, that this is what sort of happened. Please don't tell anyone, because I wanted to make a video, but I had been doing that for about 4 months. But if you guys have got any more questions in regards to the whole Raptor setup on the tray, just leave a comment down below or DM me on Instagram. That's probably the best way to get in touch with me. I'm on that all the time and it pops up on my phone. Give it a go on your setup. Maybe get a professional painter to do it for you, or just go on their tutorials. Maybe even call them up and talk to them, or email them, things like that. Really get an in-depth I guess instructions on how to do it. And if you're doing aluminium like this, I got told to use a 50-50 for metho and water to wipe it down, and use like the double white rag method, whatever that means. I think it's just you wipe it down and then you come over it again and do it. If you're doing it yourself and you're doing it on aluminium, steel's not as bad, but aluminium, you really need to go to town on it. Scratch the hell out of it with like 80 grit. And yeah, maybe don't use a wire wheel on the box, I have been told. But to be honest with you, the box is the thing that's holding up the best. Everything else seems to be flaking. I know it's on the corners and stuff where it's happening, and it's sort of prone because it's just such a bad area to paint, you know, sharp corners and things that can flake off. But the canopy is actually something that has held up really well. You can sort of, let's see if you can see the scratches. You can sort of see the, yeah, you can see the scratches on there because I haven't cleaned it in a while. But this stuff's weird, right? You wash it and the scratches go away, most of them. Obviously you still get a few scuffs, but the scratches mostly go away after you wash it. So I don't know if it's just dirt marks on there, or, you know, trees brushing up against them that leaves a mark, but they do seem to go away. But yeah, this is the main part that has been going super bad. So it got a stone chip like that, and then it just sort of blew out, and after, you know, washing it with a gurney, things like that, it all just started to flake, and yeah, it's just completely just lips up. The here is quite it's quite rough, to be honest with you. Like that part's really stuck on. Wow, like that's not coming off. Wow. Yeah, so you can tell that just this area wasn't prepped properly. Like, I really scratched the hell out of it, but it's full of dirt now, obviously. But I just didn't go enough, so you live and you learn. Next time we'll make sure we go good. And you can tell it's taken the primer and stuff off with it. So that's the Raptor there. That's the grey primer underneath. And yeah, the whole thing just sort of falls apart, to be honest. So it's a bit unfortunate, but at the end of the day, I could have taken it to someone and get someone to professionally do it, and I wouldn't have had these issues. But you take that risk when you want to do DIYs, and you know, we're not called custom productions for nothing. I'm very much trying to do everything myself and custom make a lot of the stuff for this car. So as you can tell, I'm just about to custom make my own bull bar, which is going to be quite fun. I've got about 5 or 6 days or so to go over and do it all, but you'll see that on the next video. I won't go too much into detail. And yeah, that's pretty much our setup at the moment. Oh, actually, I'll show you something. We went camping up at TJ's Forby Park at Easter this year, so 2020. I took the push bikes with me, and I duct taped some basically pool noodles on the rear bar, so that the bikes could sit on it and not get scratched and things. I duct taped straight to the Raptor coat when I got back to take the pool noodles off and rip the duct tape off. Basically, it took the Raptor coat off with it, so I completely tore it off with duct tape, and that was kind of the start. From there on, it just sort of went downhill and everything started flaking off. But yeah, like a trailer come up here and rubbed all along that, so that flaked all that. This bit's just from like a stone trip or maybe throwing stuff onto the back of the car, and it just flakes more and more. Like, you can get your fingernail there and just pick it off. I'm not going to do that because it'll stab me. This was always going to go. I wasn't too worried about it. I was going to just, you know, touch it up every year or something, but you know, things happen. But anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed this little video. I'm sorry it took me so long to get this out. I've just been umming and ahhing so much, and I've just been smashed with work and TAFE and things. So now the TAFE is basically over. I've only got a couple more things to go until I'm a fully qualified electrician, so that's good. 2021 is just around the corner, and let's hope that means big plans for this car. I've got a whole lot of things to do to it. I've actually got a few mods and stuff just sitting in the shed that I've bought that were on sale and things like that, and I just haven't had a chance to put them on. So if you guys aren't already, follow my Instagram, custom_productions. Follow the custom 4x4 page. That is our group's page where we post all our trips and adventures and basically anything we get up to. Sometimes there's a few mods on there and stuff. But my Instagram is the place to be if you want to get updates on this thing in live time, because pretty much I post on that the day of doing things, and then these videos end up going out 3 months later. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure you leave a comment if you got any questions about it. I'm pretty sure I've covered everything. I'm not too sure. If you got any questions, I'll make sure I'll read them, or DM me on Instagram and I can answer your specific questions. But this is basically my setup. It will improve in a few years to come, but for now we're going to let it sort of flake off and do things like that. Again, it's not Raptor's fault. It was my own. Personally, I should have taken it to someone to sandblast it straight up. That would be probably a good idea, rather than spend 2 weeks on sanding it myself and for this to happen and you know, put a bit of money down the drain. But you know, things happen. Next time we will sandblast it. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this video, and well, let's get started on the next one. See you guys in the next video.